Hello YouTube, Evil Twin X back again, doing a project a little bit different from the lathe. If you have been watching any of my videos, about a year ago I tried my hand at Backyard Foundry and I was trying to cast something for my wife for Mother's Day. It was supposed to say number one mom, and it was a complete disaster. As you can tell, looks like aluminum doo-doo. I'm back at it. I want to do something for my wife, a little gift for her for our anniversary. And when I first did my hot wire foam cutter, I had cut this out, and her name is Jen, and I figured I'll do a nice little paperweight. So I'm going to try it once again, a little bit of Backyard Foundry. So I only have one shot at this. Hopefully it'll come out. Will it come out? I don't know. Stick around. So I dragged out and dusted off all of my Foundry equipment and supplies. So I just need a few minutes to set everything up. So this part always makes me nervous. I haven't fired up the Foundry in probably like 8 months, and lighting it always scares the poop out of me for some reason. But here we go. Can you tell I was skittish by my jump? All right, while that's warming up, I'm going to prepare the sand for the lost foam. So I think the reason why this casting didn't come out is the fact that my sand was a bit dry and it couldn't hold its shape when the foam was vaporized and the aluminum took place. It didn't have enough strength to hold itself together, so that's why this came out kind of all liquidy and poo looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put some water, spray some water on here just to wet it just a little bit, so the sand has that stickiness to it, and it'll hold its shape when I pour the aluminum in. So here the Foundry's been warming up a little bit, and you can take a peek inside and see the flame starting to swirl. Just going to put the lid on to keep some of the heat in. So I have this tray, and that's some scrap aluminum, and I place it on top, and the hot air warms up the scrap aluminum and drives out any moisture, and also brings it up to temperature so it melts a lot faster once it's in the Foundry. And this is a look right down the burner. It's almost looking into the gates of hell. So while my scraps are warming up, I'm going to prepare the pattern for the pour. And what we're doing here, this is lost foam casting, and you're going to put your pattern in this bucket and surround it by the sand, and when the aluminum is poured in, all the foam will be instantaneously vaporized, and the aluminum will take the place of the foam, and you want the sand to kind of hold the shape. So I use this can to create head pressure, and when this fills up with liquid aluminum, the weight of it will help push the aluminum down into my pattern, filling it out completely. And it also acts like a heat sink. When aluminum cools, it shrinks, and you want that deformity to happen here and not in your pattern. One of the things I have to work on is safety. Here I am walking over the fuel line. That's a big no-no. So now I'm all set to charge the crucible, and here I am putting in my aluminum scraps. And it won't take long for these to liquefy. An overhead shot looking right down into the crucible, and believe me, the heat is hot. And here I am starting to put in the aluminum cans. Here I am scooping out all the impurities, what we call dross. And you want to remove that so you get a clean pour. And this is light salt. It acts like a flux. It helps liquefy the aluminum and make it flow. Taking a temperature of the metal, 687 Celsius translates into about 1268 degrees Fahrenheit, which basically means I'm ready to pour my pattern. All right, pulling the crucible out, and here comes the action shot. All right, it's been about a half hour. I could still feel the heat coming off of it. I'm gonna pull that up. Pull up. Give it a good shake. See that steam coming out? It's hot. All right, let's flip it over. Take a look. Looks like it came out. We got a J. And it's still hot and it smells, so I'm going to try dunking it. It's the next night and I finally have a good chance to get a good look at this, and overall I'm pretty happy. There's definitely some cleaning up I'll need to do. So I'm going to cut this can off and going to cut the sprue off, and I'm going to start cleaning this up. All right, well now this is separated from my piece. This will go in my scrap pile, and I can melt this down again and again and again. And I'm going to start cleaning this up. Got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Well, after several hours, I don't want to say several hours, maybe like an hour or so, just sanding, clean up the edges as much as I could. I do have some unevenness here. The back is fairly flat. There's still some pitting over there. And I started to use my Dremel. I'm going to finish that up over here. You know, if my lathe was up and running, I could just chuck this up in the lathe and clean it all up, and that would be a lot faster. But actually, I don't want to have a complete machined look. I want it to feel a little bit rough, so it holds on to that homemade casting feel. So I'm just going to do a bit more sanding, clean this out here, and move on to the next step. All right, I think I'm done filing. I got in here and got all that big lump down, and I think it's a little hard to tell because it's shiny, but I think there's still enough texture in there to sort of match this. I might scuff it up just a little bit more. I use this bit here just so it could dance around where I filed, so it wouldn't be so smooth, and chew it up just a little bit to give it some texture. And hopefully when I spray paint this, it'll all be blended in. So I'm going to clean this up and do the spray painting now. Well, there it is. It's been sitting in the sun. Actually, this is still quite warm for a couple hours. It's still a little spongy here, and that's okay because this is going to be removed. I just didn't want it to gum up my belt, but I really want to get this done, so I'm going to give it a shot. Well, I really like the way that turned out. It's a little rough here, but I think that makes it kind of cool. Just gonna stamp it and call it done. Very happy with this. I also put some rubber feet on here so it wouldn't mark up her desk, and also I don't know how long she's going to hold this, but from sliding around I don't want this information to rub off, but mainly it's a little bit finishing touch. And yeah, rubber nubs. One of the things I wanted to point out, I lost track about how many cans I melted, but I'm guessing close to about 120 cans. And I did add some good aluminum scraps in there, because if you create a little bit of a puddle, and when you put the cans in and submerge them as fast as you can, you get less dross. However, with all that stuff I put in, this is the waste. This is dross. This is all the impurities. I'm sure there's some good aluminum in here, but basically this will get tossed out. This is the can. This was the can I used for the head pressure. That's the sprue, and this. So about 120 cans with a little bit extra scrap get you all this. And I only got a third of a tiny mini muffin was my overage, so I planned it out pretty well. Anyway, guys, that is it. I am pretty stoked on how this came out. I finally got to do some aluminum casting. The lathe has taken up a lot of my time, and I'll be getting back to that. But I wanted to try one of my other metal hobbies. This is my first actual successful lost foam casting. Before this, other than that Mother's Day disaster, I've only made little ingots. So I'm really happy. I'll wrap this up, give it to the wife tomorrow, and that's it, guys. Evil Twin X signing off.